back. Yesterday our friends completed a skydiving challenge. Inspired by this, we are going to the airport festival in Berlin-Gatow today. The airport, which houses a military history museum, played an important role in times of the Cold War. During the blockade of West Berlin by the Soviets, many Allied aircraft landed here to supply the city from the air. Of course, it's better to see these war machines on the ground. However, they were, and unfortunately, they are still important as we see from the current situation in the world. And, as in many cases, military use also contributed massively to the rapid development of aviation. Nevertheless, better to marvel the old planes in the air, right? Whose pilots, like our adventurers yesterday, are certainly real fearless flyers. That's also the title of Hafsteinn Gunnar Sigurðsson's new movie. Thus, we are happy to have the opportunity to speak to the director today.
Say hello, fearless flyers!
Good life.
This is the most important exercise. It's not the destination, but the flight that matters.
Have booked us on a flight to Iceland. Exotic, right?
That lump of volcanic rock in the North Atlantic.
David, come back. You're a fearless flyer.
Once we reach the destination, we'll wait there for a couple of hours, and then we'll pop back in.
I'm not afraid of flying.
What on earth are you doing here, then?
It's Alphonse. He was so afraid he refused to sign up unless I came with him.
Go. What the fuck? Dear guests, it is now time for the safety demonstration.
All it takes is one little bird to get sucked into the engine of an aircraft.
I just survived the most terrifying flight of my life.
Our flight has been delayed 9 hours.
Apparently, there was a partial breakdown in one of the engines.
They've arranged a wellness hotel for us to gather ourselves and prepare for this evening.
To take that flight tonight would be nothing less than suicide.
No matter what the others decide, okay, we're taking that flight tonight.
If you want to fly, spread your wings.
I have never felt so alive.
I want to go home!
In the middle of fucking nowhere.
It's a little bit foggy in London, so...
Oh, yes, there's definitely something foggy going on here.
Yeah, I guess we're all afraid of something. I heard about one of these courses that they have, like the one that's described in the film, for people with a fear of flying. There's someone in my family who had this issue with flying, and he signed up for a course to come visit me when I was a film student in New York and wanted to fly from Iceland, but he was so afraid that he had to sign up for one of these courses. That was the first time I heard about that they had these courses, and I thought that it made a really good premise for a film. The courses is structured around like a group therapy, and it ends with a flight. Fly somewhere and then you come back. I always thought, like, what happens, if the outbound flight is a failure of some sort? How do they come back? And I thought it was a great idea to work with this, to expose, human fears, anxieties in a comic way, and deal with kind of big existential questions in a funny way.
Can you tell me what's your biggest fear?
Mine? Well, I don't have a problem with flying, actually, but no, I think mine, I didn't have big anxieties towards things until I had children. Then I got shit scared about all sorts of things, about them, about my health, and but I think I have overcome it, accepted it. Life is dangerous, but what can you do?
Jump.
Just have to let go and jump.
Yeah. How many children do you have?
I have 2 kids.
Why did you start to make films like...
Me?
Yeah, so recently.
I was very much into skateboarding when I was a teenager, and we were always like making some videos. Like this is the 90s, and we were like making like VHS videos, skateboard videos. And then somehow, as I grew older, I got more and more interested in film and the filmmaking. And then I decided to go to film school. And then I kept making films, like, you know, as kind of a hobby with friends on the side. And then I decided to go apply to a proper film school in New York at Columbia University when I was 24. And so I did there and did like a master's in directing. Really expensive.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yes.
Because I like art, and I wanted to apply in New York for one. It was so expensive.
It's ridiculous.
I was looking for another one, and everyone was a private school.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But at the time, the Icelandic currency was really strong. You know, it was just before the crisis of 2008. So the dollar was very weak towards an Icelandic krona, you know. So I kind of got it like for half price, you know. So I was a bit lucky at the time, yeah.
Gamalgulir frakkar og fingur.
Þetta með tréð. Þetta er dálítill skuggi svona sem maður fellur á.
Þetta tré verður klift.
Já, við myndum vera að þetta vinga. Kannski bara taka aðeins að því.
Þetta tré verður látið í friði.
Bara spurning að láta vaða.
The reason I make films is because I'm interested in people and people behavior and characters and you know, that I think film is a great medium to explore that, and so I think that's sort of what drives me to make films. In Under the Tree, it's about this neighborly dispute between two neighbors who are fighting over a tree that stands in one of the gardens, and that's based on you know, the premise is based on a true story. In Iceland, we have actually quite a lot of stories about people fighting over trees, you know. And what I felt was interesting there is like you have like really normal people who are not known for any kind of violence or anything, and this dispute really brings out the worst in them.
Why did they fight for a tree?
Why did they fight over the tree?
Yeah.
Because the tree is casting a shadow onto the terrace of the people next door, of the people who don't have a tree in the garden, and the people who have the tree in the garden, they find the tree very beautiful, and they don't want to cut it, and it gets very out of hands. Well, for Fearless Flyers, it was a quite expensive movie, you know, and doing a film in Icelandic, in the Icelandic language, you know, it can only be made for a certain amount of money, but because we had to shoot in like multiple countries with expensive sets for the airplanes and in big airports, it was just too expensive to make it in Icelandic. Also, going to an English language, that really opened up a lot of possibilities when it came to casting. A lot of fantastic actors, which was a really fun experience, you know, for me, and a big learning experience as well. So I was so happy with the cast that we got for the film, and we had a really good time making the film. You know, shooting a movie is always a challenge in many different ways. I think each film like has its own kind of set of problems, you know, that you have to solve, and in this case we had to do a long big sequence, you know, inside an aircraft, and that was, you know, technically challenging. We were shooting at the end of COVID, so we had actors stuck in various countries with COVID when we were starting shooting, so I didn't have the whole cast in the beginning. There were a number of all sort of issues that we had to deal with. Filmmaking is a process where you're working in the dark, you know, most of the time. You are writing something and kind of guessing how people will respond to it, and you're in the editing room and you're making decisions based on, you know, how you think it's gonna work. So when you show a film to an audience, then that's always the sort of moment of truth, you know. There's pressure, there's fear, there's anxiety, there's everything. Excitement, yeah. Relief. Of course, I was trying to use the landscapes. Well, I mean, we have a lot of tourists coming, so we don't actually need more, but no, hopefully it will interest people to visit Iceland, yeah. Well, there's only one city in Iceland, and that's Reykjavik, the capital. The rest is just like, you know, smaller towns. Nature is what is the most interesting to see there. So I would say get out of the city and try to go and explore some of the nature you find there.
Like hiking or something.
Hiking, or, you know, yeah, exactly.
And do you have a favorite food in Iceland that we have to eat?
Food?
Yes.
The fish is really good. The fish is very fresh. Lamb, if you eat meat, is very good too. We don't have an army, so we are a very peaceful country. There's a long tradition for storytelling, for literature. And it's, I think, a fairly open and fair, to some extent, society.
And would you think like living somewhere else, or are your heart in Iceland?
I would love to, you know, I really enjoy traveling. Luckily I get to travel quite a lot because of my job. I really like this city, Berlin. It's a lovely place that I've been to many times, and you know.
Are you planning maybe a project in Berlin?
Not actively, but I can say I would be open to it. Yeah.
Thank you for coming here.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Did you actually know that not only did the first real flight take place in the Berlin area by Otto Lilienthal, but one of the first motion pictures was also made here? That's why we are heading to the city cinemas tomorrow. See you then, and bye bye!